Directors of Ceremonies, Ms. Ruveneko Parenyatwa and Ms. Haf Traore, and I'm told she's Alwyn Private Sector Coalition Co-Chair. Well done. The President of the Honorable Minister of Defense, Honorable Opacha Mushpange Mchinguri Kashiri, who is also our national chairman of the ruling party, ZANU-PF. President of the Senate, Honorable Mebo Chinomona, former Vice President of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia, Her Excellency Sahle-Work Zewde, former President of the Republic of Liberia and Alwyn patron, Her Excellency Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. The hosts, our Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, Community, Small and Medium Enterprises Development, and co-chairperson of the Alwyn Zimbabwe National Chapter, Honorable Senator Monica Mchangwa. Former chairperson of the AU Commission, Her Excellency Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. AU Envoy on Women, Peace and Security, Her Excellency Ambassador Mula Mula. Habari yako. Madam Christina Duet, Under Secretary General, UN Office of the Special Advisor for Africa. United Nations team here in Zimbabwe, led by Ambassador Kellon, African Women's Leaders Network convener, Madame Benita Diop, Botswana Minister of Youth and Gender Affairs, Chairperson of the African Specialized Technical Committee on Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment, Honorable Rusego Chombo. African Youth Ambassador for Peace, South Africa, Ms. Pule Casey. Honorable Ministers and Deputy Ministers here present, senior government officials, members of Parliament here present, members of the Diplomatic Corps, distinguished African Women Leaders Network elders, and pioneers here present. Let me also recognize our young Zimbabwean, the Special Advisor to the African Chairperson, Madame Chido Cleopatra Mpemba, members of the Young Women Leaders Caucus, civil society organizations, organizations of persons with disabilities. I recognize you, members of the Fourth Estate, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. A very late good morning to you all. It is my distinct honor to address this 7th intergenerational retreat of the African Women Leaders Network, representing the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, His Excellency Comrade Dr. Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa. Allow me, on behalf of the government and people of Zimbabwe, and indeed on my own behalf, welcome you all to our beautiful nation. Mauya karibuni. Benvido. Zimbabwe is a land of peace, natural beauty, and warm hospitality. I trust that during your stay, you will find our country as a fertile ground for progressive dialogue, collaboration, and the advancement of Mother Africa's shared aspirations. Excellencies, distinguished guests, today we gather in the company of Africa's most visionary and courageous women leaders, champions and trailblazers who continue to inspire and mentor the next generation. I commend the African Women Leaders Network for championing this intergenerational dialogue and, more importantly, for choosing Zimbabwe to host this important gathering. This retreat reminds us that leadership entails strengthening bonds between generations, fostering inclusivity, and ensuring continuity and sustainability through shared responsibility. Intergenerational engagement does not simply pass the torch of leadership. It illuminates and fortifies it as it moves from one generation to the next. I further commend the African Women Leaders Network for conceptualizing this visionary platform, and for collaborating with the Ministry of Women Affairs, Community, Small and Medium Enterprises Development in convening the 7th Intergenerational Retreat. I wish to restate that hosting this gathering in Zimbabwe is a profound honor and a recognition of our nation's unwavering commitment to gender equality and empowerment of women across all spheres of life. Distinguished delegates and participants, for the government of Zimbabwe, gender equality is a cornerstone of sustainable socio-economic development and a driver of national transformation. We regard gender equality as pivotal in our stride to become an empowered, upper middle income society where no one and no place is left behind. Guided by this vision, Zimbabwe has advanced bold policies and practical measures that promote inclusive growth, equity, and justice, ensuring that women are active leaders and participants in shaping our national growth and progress. As Africans, the synergies we forge among our nations hold immense potential. Together, we can unlock new opportunities, enhance productivity, and transform the economic and social landscape of our continent. In this shared journey, women are not merely beneficiaries of development. They are innovators, leaders, and architects driving Africa towards a prosperous and inclusive future where all people enjoy happy and fulfilling lives. Let me reiterate that economic empowerment is central to women's participation in leadership. To that end, the government of Zimbabwe has implemented a range of policies and programs to support women, including initiatives that enhance access to finance, land, and climate-smart agricultural technologies. These interventions have particularly empowered rural women, increasing their productivity and active participation in the economy. The government of Zimbabwe is firmly committed to ensuring equal representation and participation of men and women in all spheres of life. I am happy that we have invited a few men here. I think after this they will learn a lot. Our progressive constitution prohibits discrimination and mandates affirmative action to address historical imbalances. In this spirit, the parliamentary quota for women has been extended beyond its initial 10-year period and expanded to local government, reinforcing deliberate measures to strengthen women's political participation. To further advance gender parity, Zimbabwe has promulgated new laws and amended existing ones to eliminate gender-based disparities. In the same breath, we have developed comprehensive frameworks and strategies to accelerate women's inclusion in leadership, peace, and security. Ladies and gentlemen, the revised National Gender Policy provides an overarching framework for mainstreaming gender across all sectors, with a dedicated pillar on gender-balanced leadership and decision-making. Complementing these are the National Strategy for Women in Leadership and Decision-Making and the National Action Plan on Resolution 1003 and 25 on Women, Peace and Security, both on which reinforce our commitment to structural transformation. The aforestated frameworks have been translated into tangible action. The government of Zimbabwe has appointed women to powerful and strategic positions that were previously dominated by men, signaling our commitment to breaking long-standing barriers. You have already been told some of them. These include our Honorable Minister of Defense here with us, the President of the Senate, the Attorney General, the Prosecutor General, the Judge, the President of our High Court Judge, of our High Court, the Deputy Chief Justice, Ministers, Permanent Secretaries, Chairpersons of independent commissions and state enterprises. These are now being occupied by women. We are not yet done. We will continue with that pace. Public sector reforms have further advanced Zimbabwe's gender equality agenda through the implementation of the Public Entities Corporate Governance Act, which mandates gender balance in the appointment of boards of public entities. It is policy that when boards are being appointed and Personally, myself, I administer that act. If they bring proposals and there are no women, it goes back until the women are inserted. As a result, we are witnessing steady growth and a positive shift in women's participation across the highest levels of leadership and decision making. Distinguished delegates and participants, you are all aware that when you empower a woman, you do not simply uplift an individual, you transform families, strengthen communities, and accelerate the progress of nations. Women remain the architects of development and guarantors of continuity across generations. In this spirit, I warmly applaud the conceptualization of the Women in the Public Sector Collective, which will be launched during this retreat. This initiative, dedicated to fostering intergenerational engagement among women in civil service, government, and public institutions, represent a timely and innovative step forward. It will play a vital role in dismantling the structural and systemic barriers that continue to limit women's access to leadership positions, not only in Zimbabwe, but across the African continent. Ladies and gentlemen, the government of Zimbabwe remains deeply concerned that gender-based violence continues to undermine women's full participation in national development. Its pervasive nature threatens the very foundations of society and obstructs the realization of gender equality. Zimbabwe does not tolerate gender-based violence in any form. To create a safe environment for women and girls, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, His Excellency Comrade Dr. Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, signed and launched the first ever high-level political compact on ending gender-based violence and harmful practices that will run over the period 2021 to 2030. In the same vein, Zimbabwe commits to ratifying the African Union Convention on ending violence against women and girls. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. This landmark instrument reflects our continental resolve to confront violence while reaffirming our dedication to gender equality and women's empowerment in line with the Convention on the Elimination of all forms of discrimination against women, the Sustainable Development Goals, and the Beijing Platform for Action. Zimbabwe is deeply honored to have been recognized through the designation of the President, His Excellency Comrade E.D. Mnangagwa, as a champion in eliminating violence against women and girls, and for inclusion in the African Women Leaders Network Circle of positive masculinity champions. We can't remain, we can't remain a world of men. We must share, we were created men and women. We are different biologically, but we are equal. This distinction is not only a tribute to him as an individual, but a reflection of our country's unwavering commitment to advancing gender equality and ending violence in all its forms. It carries a profound responsibility, one that Zimbabwe embraces with humility and resolve. By the same token, all men in Zimbabwe must accept their duty to be allies and partners in building a gender-inclusive society. Ending gender-based violence requires unity across government, civil society, traditional and religious leadership, and communities. Gender equality is not a women's issue alone. It is a national imperative. I therefore call upon men and boys throughout Zimbabwe, throughout the continent, to join me in this noble cause. The private sector must also play its part. For too long, systemic barriers have limited women's rise in corporate leadership. I call upon captains of industry to commit to advancing women's participation by adopting clear policies, setting ambitious parity targets, and holding themselves accountable for results. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in today's digital age, access to technology and artificial intelligence is critical to inclusive participation. Yet, if left unchecked, these tools risk entrenching bias and exclusion. Zimbabwe has therefore aligned its education system to meet this challenge. Through a competence-based curriculum and heritage-based education 5.0, we are equipping our young people with future-ready skills such as critical thinking, problem solving, digital fluency, entrepreneurship, and adaptability. As a result, more women and girls are entering science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM fields, registering patterns and shaping innovation. Progressive registration, such as the Freedom of Information Act and the Data Protection Act, also address digital gender-based violence. Alongside our national ICT policy and initiatives like community information centers and community radio stations, these efforts are narrowing the digital divide. Be that as it may, these efforts are narrowing, sorry, I take that one again. Be that as it may, much remains to be done to ensure equitable access across gender and geography. I commend the theme of this intergenerational retreat, which underscores the role of digital technologies and artificial intelligence in promoting gender equality. It is a timely call to action. To young women in Zimbabwe and across Africa, I say, you are the leaders of today and tomorrow. Seize mentorship opportunities. Pursue excellence through lifelong education and cultivate strong character. Reject vices such as drug and substance abuse, which threatens the future of our continent. As I conclude my remarks, let me underscore that Africa cannot achieve peace, prosperity, and sustainable development if any group is left behind. Together, men and women, young and old, we will build the Africa we want, brick by brick, stone by stone, and step by step. Here in Zimbabwe, we live by the philosophy that says in our language, Nyika inovakwa nevene vayo. A country is built by its own people. We are the builders of our African continent as a whole. No one is going to come and build Africa for us except ourselves. May this 7th intergenerational retreat be remembered as a turning point where commitments were renewed, partnerships deepened, and inclusive leadership defined. Once again, I warmly welcome you all to Zimbabwe. With these words, it is now my singular honor and privilege to declare the 7th intergenerational retreat of the African Women's Leaders Network officially open. May God bless Africa. May God bless Zimbabwe. May God bless you all. I thank you. Asante sana.